The room fell into the hush that precedes a surgical incision. Halfway through my soup, my brother's fiancée halted, her spoon suspended, her gaze fixed on me as if confronting a spirit emerging from an accounting report. You are her, she whispered, neither loud nor soft, but decisive. The group chuckled, attributing her statement to humor. My mother blotted her lips, beaming. However, the fiancé's complexion quickly paled. You are the CEO, the one we just acquired. 275 million. This was the climax. This was the revelation. Prior to this moment, I was still the family's laughing stock. My mother's voice rings louder in my memory than my father's. He was indifferent. She was meticulous. She nicknamed me her peculiar computer girl, not as an insult, but as a term of endearment, failing to recognize that it could be considered a diagnosis she frequently discussed at Bridge Club. She is squandering her potential on computer games, she'd remark, shuffling her cards. But she will fail in the end, they always do. At holidays, graduations falling short of expectations, dinners like this one, where my sibling, radiant and simple, was praised for picking the ideal law firm and partner. I realized that in my family, approval was a currency I'd never accumulate, so I ceased striving to spend it. My first genuine betrayer appeared at age 17, hopeful as I was. I believed if I worked tirelessly, held my tongue, flashed the right smile, they would recognize me. I thought constructing tangible things, functional systems that thrived even without human intervention, would matter. Instead, they derided when I dropped out. They scoffed when I moved into a windowless apartment. They laughed when I stopped justifying myself. The transformations were subtle. That's how genuine transitions always occur. I observed my father inquiring more, my brother discussing startups with a hint of sarcasm. My mother became proud in the presence of outsiders, indifferent otherwise. Then I found the email. Years ago, my brother shared an old but fundamental pitch deck of mine with a contact at his firm, stating, "She's not using it, might as well make something of it." That was when hope quietly ceased. No shouting, no conflict, simply a silent realization like a key turning in a lock. I remained unmoved and started strategizing instead. I established a company under an anonymous name, rebuilt the system from memory, enhanced its capabilities, patented what could be patented, buried the rest beneath layers of ownership. I employed individuals who knew my standards but not my face. When my brother's firm began expressing interest in a tech company with staggering profits and a secretive founder, I ensured they took notice. I manipulated the figures to make them enticing. I arranged for the acquisition to be his responsibility. I observed from afar as he pitched it to his partners like it was fate. I watched my mother boast about his genius to the same circle that had ridiculed me. I remained unseen. During the engagement dinner, I opted for a subtle black attire, unassuming and unremarkable. Arriving late, I settled into my seat, letting their conversations wash over me, allowing them to overlook my presence until she recognized me. The moment of recognition can be brutal when it arrives. I saw her eyes widen as they fell upon the image on the boardroom screen, heard the familiarity in the voice from the negotiations, and read her initials on the final transfer document. She murmured my name softly, akin to a whispered confession. I allowed an uncomfortable silence to fill the room, letting my parents express their disapproval, watching my brother appear puzzled. Then I spoke. "Yes," I acknowledged, keeping my voice calm and composed. "That was my company." The words hung in the air, requiring no amplification. Truth carries weight if given space. I elaborated on the business structure, the acquisition terms, the stipulations, how my brother had waived certain conditions from the intellectual property they thought they were acquiring outright. I observed his realization unfold gradually. I watched my father's mental calculations. I watched my mother finally comprehend that every lighthearted jest she made had been a strategic investment in this very moment. The fiancée made her excuses and left the room. She was aware of the implications. So was I. By the time dessert rolled around, my brother's phone was incessantly vibrating. By coffee, his future seemed to crumble under the burden of his own actions, signed off by him. Nothing illicit, nothing sensational, simply outcomes meticulously set up. I didn't linger for farewells. Now I find myself here alone, replaying it all not with rage, but with precision. Revenge isn't boisterous, it doesn't brag, it waits, it grows. It allows people to hang themselves with the rope they believed you would never provide.